Hello and welcome back. This is chapter second, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, written by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. And today I'm going to explain page 21 to you. So here we go. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. So he points out here that such great characters as mentioned in the previous page, are born not without going through tremendous amount of oppression, tremendous amount of suffering. They're only born when they bear such pain, tremendous pain, you can say. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil. So he admits here that South Africa is rich in mineral resources. But at the same time, he says, I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people. But he says that its greatest wealth, the greatest wealth of South Africa is not the gems and the mineral resources, but its people. People, supreme people, people who have got dedication, who have got commitment towards the country, towards making country a better place, who have only one desire, that is bringing happiness on the faces of the people, of its countrymen. So they are, he says, they are finer and truer than the purest diamond. The heart is finer and purer, even purer than the purest heart, because they have no self-interest. They have no feeling of say, or they are not fighting, or say they were not fighting for their own interest. So or they had nothing in their heart for themselves, or they had everything for others, and so they had brought a finest kind of brightness in themselves. Their soul was brighter than even the purest gold, purest diamond. It is from these comrades and this struggle that I learned the meaning of courage, and he admits here that the courage, the meaning of courage, or the courage that he learned, that he imbibed, or that he learned to learn to live with during the struggle, during the struggle for freedom, was all drawn from these comrades in the struggle for freedom. That is the source of his courage was these people, because they were the epitome of courage. They were the sign and symbol of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for one idea. Again and again, quite often, I have seen, or I have experienced, I have seen a lot of times that people sacrifice their life, that the people are ready to give away their life for a single idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking. So I have even seen men standing tall against oppression, standing tall against sufferings and tortures, and not breaking down, not collapsing before the sufferings, before the torture, and before those oppressors, showing us strength and resilience that defies the imagination. And they displayed tremendous amount of strength and resilience to recover from these kind of setbacks, these kind of challenges, these kind of tortures in their life. And say, the strength displayed by these people cannot be imagined. It defies all kind of imagination. That is, it beats all kind of imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear. So what he says here, he learned that the courage is not the absence of fear. From these people only, the courage that they displayed, from them he learned that courage is not the absence of fear, that there is no fear at your heart, that you're not afraid of a thing doesn't mean that you are courageous. But the triumph over it, but courage means the triumph over fear, that is the victory over fear. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. And here he gives the definition of a brave man, a courageous man, and he says a brave man is not one who does not feel afraid, that is, not one who is not afraid, who is not scared of challenges, but one who conquers that fears. But that man is courageous who has conquered the fear. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. So what he says here, that no person is born with a feeling of hatred at his heart because of the color, because the person is dark complexion, so he must hate because the person belongs to a particular background, so he must have hatred for him, or because of his religion. No, a man is never born with such kind of feelings at birth. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Now he says that yes, man, a person or people must learn to hate. It's good that a person has hatred. He hates people. It's good because if a person can hate, that is, he can also be taught to love, because it shows that you have got emotion, you have got feelings, and if you got feelings, then obviously that feelings can be changed, can be turned up for the other, for the better. And because man, love comes more naturally to the human heart than hatred, and love is more natural than hatred. Even in the grimiest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards. Okay, so when they were in the prison, they were kept in the prison. There, they went through tortures. They were tortured by the guards, by the prison guards and the officers. And there, when they were tortured, he found a glimmer, a sign, a sparkle of humanity in the eyes of those guards, in the eyes of those, say, policemen and all. So, what that shows, perhaps, just for a second, he said perhaps there was that sparkle of humanity in the eyes of the gods, maybe for a second, but it was there. It had come. But it was enough to reassure me and keep me going, and it was sufficient for me to stay positive, and keep on fighting for the rights, keep on fighting for the for the for say for creating or bringing love and the hearts of those people. A man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. And he says here that goodness of man is like a flame, and flame for the time being, for the moment, can be hidden, but it cannot be extinguished. In life, every man has twin obligations: obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. So he says here, he shares his viewpoint here and says every man has twin obligation in his life: one for the family and the other for his country. In a civil and human In a civil and human society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. And in a human society, in a good society, where there is a love and respect for the other man, other person, there all these obligations can easily be fulfilled according to man's capability, according to the degree of love and compassion the other person is having for his family and the country. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both of those obligations. But in South Africa, in those days, it was impossible because he was black, and for black, the blacks were not given the right to fulfill their obligations towards the country and also towards the family. So this is all for today. Thank you.